I saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other.
Justin Bieber has shattered his long-held silence in a way that has shaken the entertainment industry to its core. In a stunning federal courtroom revelation, Bieber has reportedly testified against music titan Sean Diddy Combs' accusations, so grave that they could bring Diddy's once untouchable empire crashing down. What was once believed to be a bond of mentorship between the pop icon and the music mogul has now been exposed as something far darker, marked by allegations of manipulation, exploitation, and psychological control, those close to the trial describe. Bieber's testimony is raw, unfiltered, and deeply unsettling.
Stacey,
He
you
spoke
say
of
today's
experiences
indictment
dating
reads like
back
a
to his
mob
teenage years, a
indictment.
time
What
when he was
most shocking
catapulted
to you
into
of all
global
these
stardom
allegations?
and appeared to be under Diddy's protection. But behind the glamour and mentorship, Bieber now claims lay a much more sinister reality. The man who once guided him through the early stages of fame may have, according to these allegations, taken advantage of his vulnerability. The court proceedings have not only unearthed troubling stories, they've hinted at possible hard evidence. Insiders have spoken of a hidden network of surveillance cameras, allegedly installed in Diddy's residences and at private events.
A criminal case in the modern times, a lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
These devices, they claim, recorded everything and everyone, celebrities, industry insiders, and most disturbingly, underage artists like Bieber. The looming question now is, what exactly was captured on those tapes? And how many lives could be forever altered if the footage is made public? For Bieber, the weight of these revelations has clearly taken a toll. Over the years, fans have witnessed his public breakdowns, battles with addiction, and heartfelt interviews hinting at emotional wounds. But now, with his testimony, a chilling picture is beginning to form, one in which his past struggles may be directly linked to a traumatic chapter shaped under Diddy's shadow. People don't know how serious.
When he walked inside the courtroom, the first thing that he looked at was his family. As soon as he saw his family, he just lit up. Another thing to note, too, is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit when he appeared inside court, and his family appeared on their end very just happy to see him. Now, I will...
It got, Bieber once admitted. In a rare interview, it was scary. Today, by stepping into the spotlight not as a performer, but as a witness, Bieber seems ready to confront those fears once and for all. A particularly disturbing aspect of the case centers on Diddy's infamous puffy camps, events once promoted as exclusive mentorship retreats for rising stars. According to Bieber, these camps were anything but nurturing. Instead, he alleges they served as grooming grounds, where young talents were subjected to psychological and emotional manipulation disguised as professional development. Bieber was not a...
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than...
alone. Artists like Usher have previously hinted at unsettling experiences tied to these camps, though they've never spoken in full. Now, Bieber's courage may inspire others to finally come forward with their truths. This is no longer just a celebrity scandal, it's a reckoning. One that could redefine how power, fame, and vulnerability intersect in the world of entertainment. As the trial unfolds, the world watches not just for a verdict, but for long-silenced voices to be heard, and for justice, however delayed, to be...
Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
The case against Sean Diddy. Combs is no longer a whisper behind closed doors. It's an avalanche of revelations threatening to crush a legacy built on fame, power, and carefully curated illusion. Federal agents recently stormed his homes in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing hard drives, confidential documents, and bizarrely over 1,000 bottles of lubricating oil. But this isn't just tabloid fodder. The raids allegedly unearthed a disturbing undercurrent, secret connections to what insiders refer to as freak-offs exclusive. Deeply hidden parties Diddy is said to have masterminded over the years.
Hello, Sean Diddy Combs. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. Do you like being scared?
These weren't ordinary celebrity gatherings. Prosecutors described them as orchestrated spectacles, ritualistic, drug-laced, and filled with manipulation where stars and the vulnerable alike were drawn into compromising, sometimes inescapable situations. What makes this darker is that it's not just based on rumors. First-hand witnesses have described these events as unhinged and heavily intoxicated environments where morality evaporated. And the most chilling allegation? That these so-called...
I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
freak-offs were secretly filmed. One former associate claimed the cameras were hidden capturing guests without their knowledge. If those tapes exist, they could be the lethal evidence prosecutors need to destroy Diddy's empire. But the real bombshell is who may appear on them. Sources suggest the footage features not just Diddy but multiple high-profile figures, some of the biggest names in entertainment. Panic is spreading fast across Hollywood as insiders scramble to sever ties, fearing the fallout could pull down more than just one man. At the heart of this implosion stands
artist was quoted as saying that when he tried to make small talk with Ellen, she supposedly said, "Who do you think you are? Don't look."
Justin Bieber, no longer just the pop prodigy who once lit up stadiums with innocence and charm. His decision to testify has become the emotional spine of this case, an act of vulnerability that is shaking the very structure of the music world. Those close to him say he's been quietly tormented for years, haunted by memories he once tried to erase. Behind the fame, the sold-out tours, and the smile that sold millions of albums was a young man carrying unspoken trauma. It's been years of silence, a source close to Bieber confessed. Years of trying to forget. But eventually, silence becomes poison. Bieber's testimony, by all accounts, isn't just a recounting of pain, it's a call.
Alleged bad behavior had been whispered about in the industry for years.
For accountability, not only for himself, but for others who were groomed, exploited, and silenced. What makes this moment so seismic is the precedent it threatens to set. Legal analysts are already drawing comparisons to the Epstein and Polanski cases, warning that this could be the tipping point in an industry that has long turned a blind eye to its darkest secrets. Diddy's legal team continues to deny all allegations, branding the charges as baseless and politically motivated. But with each court session, that defense weakens. His stoic demeanor in the courtroom, the slight nods to family, the forced composure, it all appears to be crumbling behind the scenes. Sources close to the situation say panic has set in. With bail denied twice, Diddy remains behind bars in a notoriously violent Brooklyn detention center far from the mansions and...
A shot? I think his attorneys raised some good arguments.
I think they raised good arguments as well. Maybe this will be third time's the charm, because the difference between this bail motion and the prior two is that this one really does get to the heart of what the court was concerned about, which was witness...
Red carpets, he once ruled, and the shockwaves are far from over. Behind closed doors, record labels and entertainment firms are reportedly launching internal probes. Executives are said to be scrubbing emails, distancing themselves from past connections, and preparing crisis teams. At least 5 major industry figures are rumored to be under review by their own companies, proof that this scandal may be far more widespread than anyone imagined. The question now isn't just whether Diddy will fall, it's how many others he may take down with him. Meanwhile, Justin Bieber's role continues to evolve. What began as one voice breaking through years of silence has turned into something far greater, a symbol of reckoning. But with that visibility comes a heavy emotional toll. Fans are rewatching old footage. Bieber as a bright-eyed teenager, praising Diddy, laughing beside him, calling their time together a dream come true. What once seemed like innocent...
Those situations lend to maybe some issues with tampering. And I do feel like there are victims who are scared to come forward, including my client. She was very nervous about if he was going to get bail this week. And once I told her, and then come after people, including her and some of the other individuals, and she was very relieved when he did not.
Nostalgia now feels like foreshadowing, eerie, painful, and laced with betrayal. Bieber's truth has changed everything. And as more stories begin to emerge, it's clear this isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning decades in the making, and the music world may never be the same. The unsettling silence from some of Justin Bieber's closest peers has become impossible to ignore. Usher, who also shared a deeply connected past with Diddy during his adolescence, has kept his lips tightly sealed. In a resurfaced interview, he reluctantly acknowledged attending Diddy's notorious mentorship camps, As a teen butt, when asked if he would ever let his own children go to such a place, his answer was stark and unflinching: hell no. That single phrase echoed louder than any confession. He didn't need to say more. His refusal to elaborate only fuels a growing unease. What really happened at those camps? And what of the countless unnamed stars who were also there, drawn in by promises of guidance and opportunity?
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
How many of them are now quietly wrestling with painful memories? And how many are staying silent not by choice but out of fear? As the investigation deepens, it becomes painfully clear that the surface has barely been scratched. Courtroom testimony, shadowy allegations, and whispers of more victims still waiting in the wings suggest this isn't just a scandal, it's an earthquake, capable of reshaping the foundations of the entertainment world. At the center of the storm stands Justin Bieber, no longer the wide-eyed teenager chasing dreams, but a man confronting ghosts with unflinching honesty. His decision to speak out has pierced the veil of glamour and power that once made Diddy seem untouchable. His testimony has become a catalyst pulling back the curtain on an industry that for decades has been protected by wealth, fame, and silence. Diddy's arrest shattered the illusion of invincibility. For years, his empire symbolized more than just success, it embodied dominance, opulent parties, elite connections, and a curated image of absolute control. But prosecutors now allege that behind the sheen of celebrity was a calculated machine, fueled by exploitation, manipulation, and psychological domination. If the evidence holds true, this is not simply the fall of a mogul, it's the collapse of an ecosystem that enabled and protected him. Panic has reportedly swept through the highest tiers of the music industry. Executives, collaborators, and longtime allies are said to be scrambling to erase ties, to get ahead of a narrative that's slipping from their control. Sources close to the case hint that at least 6 major household names, may soon be implicated as investigations continue to unravel Diddy's tightly woven web. These so-called freak-offs, as described in damning court documents, were allegedly far more than just private, celebrity-packed parties. They were intricately staged psychological trap settings where lines were blurred, trust was violated, and vulnerability was preyed upon. What masqueraded as networking and mentorship may have in fact been something far more sinister, a calculated descent.
Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Island.
Into manipulation, secrecy, and control. Now, with federal authorities unearthing more every day, the carefully manufactured illusion of the entertainment elite is beginning to fracture. But perhaps the most chilling piece of this growing puzzle is the alleged surveillance system Diddy reportedly used to maintain dominance. Hidden cameras, planted across his estates and venues, are said to have recorded everything: conversations, interactions, and intimate moments without the knowledge of those present. These recordings, according to insiders, weren't souvenirs, they were leverage, silent threats, a digital stranglehold that kept people obedient and afraid. The very possibility that this footage might surface is sending shockwaves through Hollywood. Careers could vanish overnight. Reputations might implode. The fear isn't hypothetical, it's real, immediate, and rapidly spreading. The silence from the music industry is more than just unsettling, it's deafening. For years, Sean Diddy Combs was hailed as a pioneer, a titan who built an empire through vision, hustle, and undeniable influence. He wasn't just successful, he was revered. But now, with a storm of allegations casting shadows over his legacy, that empire is being re-examined under a much darker light. The world is no longer applauding his achievements, they're demanding answers. How many people knew what was happening behind those gilded doors? Who looked the other way? And how many are now racing to rewrite their past?
Because I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall.
Before the truth finally catches up. Justin Bieber's decision to testify has become the emotional core of this unfolding reckoning. But that courage has come with a profound cost. Those close to Bieber say the process has reopened deep wounds, forcing him to confront moments he tried to bury long ago. For him, taking the stand wasn't just about justice, it was about reclaiming his voice after years of quiet suffering. His bravery has broken the seal on a culture long protected by power and silence.